Thanks for joining me again. Today I signed an executive order directing the Department of Permitting Services to temporarily pause the acceptance and processing of permit applications for new data centers in Montgomery County. I want to explain why I'm taking this step now. First, this is not a ban on data centers. It is not a statement that data centers should never be built in Montgomery County. It is not a judgment on any specific proposal. What this order does is create time for Montgomery County to establish clear rules and expectations before applications begin moving through the permitting process. Right now, Montgomery County does not have regulations that specifically address data centers. We have zoning and permitting rules that apply generally to development, but we do not have a framework that fully addresses the unique issues that are raised by data centers, particularly the mega data centers. These issues include energy consumption, water use, environmental impacts, visual impacts on neighboring communities, effects on parks and natural resources, and the demands these facilities place on our infrastructure. The County Council recognized those questions when it introduced legislation earlier this year regarding data centers. The Council has already held a public hearing and is in the process of considering what those rules should look like. At the same time, the state of Maryland is conducting a comprehensive assessment of data centers and their impacts. That work is expected to continue through this year. I believe it makes sense to have those discussions and have them take place before permit applications move forward. I do not want a project going through the county's review process before we've considered what the appropriate rules for data centers should be. And I especially don't want a project submitted before we have the new guidelines, and then to have to be concerned about them getting an approval before the updated guidelines are in place. We've seen too many examples in government where development gets ahead of policy. Projects move forward first, and then the government is left to try to figure out how to deal with the issues that are left behind that should have been considered in the beginning. That approach doesn't serve residents well. The responsible approach is to establish the rules, understand the impacts, and make the decisions within a clear framework. Data centers are becoming an increasingly important part of our economy. They support cloud computing, artificial intelligence, research, communications, and countless services that people use every day. At the same time, local governments across the country are grappling with questions about their long-term impacts on energy demand, energy costs, land use, environmental stability, and the quality of life. Those are all legitimate questions, and residents deserve answers. The Council deserves the opportunity to complete its legislative work and to not have to race against a project trying to get through the approval process before they finish. And applicants deserve to know what standards will be applied before they invest significant time and resources in a project. This executive order provides that opportunity. The pause is temporary, it expires after 6 months unless extended, and it could end sooner, depending on what the Council does. My goal here is pretty straightforward. I want Montgomery County to make informed decisions. I want the Council to have the time to do its job right. And I want any future discussion about data centers to take place within a clear set of rules that have been debated publicly and adopted through our legislative process. That is how good planning is supposed to work. This week marked a milestone in our work to preserve affordable housing in Montgomery County, and I want people to understand why it matters. We used our updated right of first refusal law for the first time. It is a law that I worked with the Council to strengthen in 2024 because it gives the county the ability to step in when an affordable property goes up for sale and assign our purchase rights to a qualified developer. This prevents any existing affordable building from being demolished to make way for luxury housing. Working with Yoke Management Partners, we preserved naturally occurring affordable housing across 2 properties, Tilbury Gardens in Bethesda and Argyle Street Apartments in Rockville. Now, 52 units won't be torn down and replaced with high-priced new developments. 24 of those units will be income restricted to lower-income households. The people who live in Tilbury and Argyle can now stay in downtown Bethesda and Rockville, even though they seemed at real risk of being displaced from their homes, the neighborhoods, and their kids' schools. This is what the law is supposed to do. Housing in places like downtown Bethesda doesn't stay affordable on its own. The market pressure is enormous. We've seen before what's happened. Units like these become higher-end rentals, and the people who were living there were priced out. Now, with the right of first refusal law strengthened, we intervened and it worked. I want to thank everyone who pushed to make this happen, including the residents themselves who advocated for their own homes. That matters. Scott Bruton and his team at the Department of Housing and Community Affairs worked hard to make this new law a reality. This fiscal year alone, we've preserved 913 affordable units across the county, and the year is not over yet. We're proving that with the right tools and the right partners, we can keep our communities stable and inclusive for everyone. 24 affordable units isn't the whole problem, but this means our residents can stay in their community, and that's worth celebrating. We're a few weeks away from some significant changes for drivers on 355 due to the construction along the Red Line. Starting July 6th and running through September 6th, Metro is shutting down Red Line service between North Bethesda and Friendship Heights. No trains between those stations for 2 months. This is going to be a real disruption for all commuters, and I want people to be prepared. So here's what's going to be put in place to help. There will be free shuttle buses to replace train service at Grosvenor, Strathmore, Medical Center, and Bethesda stations. Nearly 8 miles of dedicated bus-only lanes are being added to stretches of Rockville Pike. Local shuttles should run about 10 minutes between stops. And express shuttles between North Bethesda and Friendship Heights should be an estimated 26 minutes. The state has begun striping along Maryland 355 for bus lanes and signage that will be placed and bagged in the next week or so. However, those bus-only lanes won't be in effect until the shuttle service begins on Monday, July 6th. Once the shuttles begin, please stay out of the bus lanes except to make turns. The free shuttle buses will run every 5 to 8 minutes during Metro Rail operating hours. Free parking will be available at North Bethesda, Grosvenor Metro stations. This bus-only project for 355 is tied to the Maryland State Highway Administration and is done with coordination by WMATA and MCDOT. Transportation leaders will be monitoring the impact of the bus-only lanes, and adjustments will be made as needed. Maps developed have been drawn to understand what to expect so more people are aware of what's coming and can see where they can expect the bus-only lanes. More information can be found on WMATA's website, or you can search 2026 Metro Red Line Summer to find that information. Montgomery County is proud of its roots as a revolutionary community, and we're sharing that pride this summer. The commemorative buses feature imagery and themes from Montgomery County's past and present. It also features the word welcome in multiple languages to reflect that we are a welcoming community. As one of the most diverse communities in the country, our diversity is a strength. Montgomery County is named after General Richard Montgomery, a hero of the Revolutionary War who was killed fighting for the Continental Army as they tried to take the city of Quebec. Note to self about not trying to take Canada and put it in the United States. As we near this significant milestone in both our national and local history, we have a wonderful chance to deepen our collective appreciation for it. I encourage everyone to learn more about the history of the county at montgomerycountymd.gov/Montgomery-250. You can also go through the county's timeline and learn about important upcoming events that will help us celebrate 250 years as a county. Montgomery history is an important partner in helping the community understand our area, developed over more than 2 centuries. Visit them online at montgomeryhistory.org. On Friday, July 3rd, we'll host Montgomery County's 250th Shine Together at Newport Mill Park next to Einstein High School in Kensington. The free fireworks show will start at 7 p.m. with music. So keep an eye out for our 3 buses and our anniversary artwork, and learn more about the deep history of our county. And enjoy July 3rd. Next week, on Wednesday, June 17th, Montgomery County will join communities around the world in recognizing World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. The 2026 Older Adult Safety Forum will be held on that day from 10 to 11:30 at the Schweinhaus Senior Center on Forest Glen Road in Silver Spring. The free event will be live streamed as well. Learn more by visiting weaad2026.eventbrite.com, or you can call 240-777-8085. Elder abuse is a serious subject that doesn't get enough attention, but it affects real families across the county. The physical abuse is one aspect that can often go unnoticed as well. Abuse can be emotional, and it can be someone taking advantage of an older person financially or neglecting them. It also includes someone not getting the care or contact they need. And a lot of the time, the person experiencing it doesn't feel they can speak up or doesn't know where to turn. We have adult protective services teams, social workers, community partners, and the state's Attorney General office all working on this together. But honestly, a lot of this comes down to neighbors paying attention to their neighbors. There are signs to watch for, including someone who's more withdrawn than usual, someone who's confused about their finances, someone who's struggling with things that you used to handle just fine, someone who's suddenly uncomfortable around whoever is caring for them. Your instincts are worth trusting. Remember, you don't have to be certain something's wrong to make a call. That's what our services are there for. If something doesn't feel right to you, call 240-777-3000 or go to montgomerycountymd.gov/senior. One phone call can make a real difference in someone's life. Next week, Montgomery County joins most of the nation in pausing to honor Juneteenth, which is observed on Friday, June 19th. I think every resident should know about this holiday and come out and be part of it. The Scotland Juneteenth Heritage Festival is one of the largest celebrations in this entire region, and I'd argue it's one of the most meaningful anywhere. Scotland is one of those handful of post-Civil War Black communities. It was built by newly freed slaves, African Americans who, for the first time in their lives, had the ability to purchase land and put down roots. That is an extraordinary thing, and what they built here has endured through a lot of hardship. But here's the part of the story that doesn't get told enough. Over time, policies like redlining and restrictive covenants systematically stripped Black families in Scotland and in communities like it across the county of their land and their opportunities. That wasn't an accident, it was a policy. And the effects of those policies are still felt today. There are only about 8 Black communities left in Montgomery County from the post-Civil War era. 8. We can't understand how we got to where we are today without knowing that history and taking it seriously. Last year we celebrated the reopening of the Scotland AME Zion Church, a 100-year-old institution that was nearly lost after a devastating flooding in 2019. The flooding was caused by the way the county redesigned the road, which led to a massive backup of water that damaged the church. Thanks to the Scotland community, private partners, and county support, that church has been beautifully restored. It even sits higher than before to protect it from future flooding. That church is not just a building, it is the heart of the community, and getting it back was a long time coming. I want to acknowledge the Gassaway sisters, Bernard Scott, Paul Tukey, Reverend Huggins, and everyone who poured themselves into that restoration. And I want to especially mention Joyce Siegel, who I worked with years ago when I was a housing advocate and she was an affordable housing advocate for this county. The Save Our Scotland efforts go back to 1965. That kind of long-term commitment from people who believe in this community is what makes moments like this possible. We still need people like that to be leaders today. The festival itself is a living tribute to freedom, to resilience, to culture, and the legacy of Black Montgomery County. I'm glad it has helped restore the church. Now the profit from that week-long schedule of events such as camps, concerts, and family-friendly activities will help other historically underserved communities across the county. That is an example of the community looking out for one another, and it is a wonderful legacy tied to every day of freedom. Every Montgomery County resident can participate and learn something about our shared history. Learn more at this festival because it belongs to all of us. Juneteenth has become a call to keep moving forward together. Learn more at juneteenthscotland.org. The Scotland community has been here for generations and they will continue to be here. We can support them, but they are leading the way, and watching them do that is something worth celebrating. This week, the World Cup kicked off across North America to great fanfare. This is really a worldwide event, and in the county, as diverse as ours, you'll find people rooting for teams from all over the globe. A survey of more than 21,000 Americans done just a few days ago found that nearly twice as many people believe the games will bring countries closer together rather than push them farther apart. That's a hopeful thought. At a time when there's so much division in the world, there's something special about a celebration of a worldwide sport that can bring people together. For a lot of us, this is a time to celebrate. And whether you call it soccer or football, we want you to know that you need to be safe. So if you like to celebrate with a drink or two, or maybe three, please make a plan to get home safe. Whether that's a designated driver, a ride home, or just staying put, our police officers are going to be stepping up enforcement during celebrations to keep our community safe. So don't risk it. A first offense in Maryland for a DUI carries a fine of up to $1,000 and up to 1 year behind bars. It's not worth it when you can just hop on a fare-free bus instead. Ride On is now zero fare for every rider, so grab your friends, ride together, and cheer with more fans. Download the Ride On Trip Planner app to map your trip and to see when the next bus is coming. It's a simple way to plan a safe ride home. And while you're at it, celebrate local. Check out Visit Montgomery's calendar of events to find a neighborhood spot showing the games, a restaurant, a bar, or a coffee shop near you. Supporting our local businesses is a great way to come together as a community while enjoying the matches. The closest games may be in Philadelphia, but I expect our local spots to fill up with fans all month long. We call Montgomery County home, but all of us have roots elsewhere. Keep that in mind as you watch World Cup fever right alongside your friends and neighbors. So that's a wrap for today. Hope you have a great week, and I'll be back again next week.